Hello. Howdy, friends. How's everyone doing today? Mars, how are you? It's Sunday. It's Sunday evening.
It's Sunday and I'm very stressed, and for I guess a very good reason, but it's fine. Y'all will learn about that soon enough.
Stressy spaghetti?
Stressy spaghetti, always
Is
a
that
stressy
is that
spaghetti.
is that the saying? Well, thank you everyone for being here. Thank you for part of me is like, thank you for putting up with my weird ass schedule stuff. And instead of doing our normal Sunday morning comic church, we're here Sunday evening doing comic church.
We're
So
doing an evening special. They've got
evening
they've got
special.
evening churches, right? That's a thing. As somebody who has never been to a church, they have evening prayers.
As someone who was not necessarily raised in the church, but I went to a church. Fun fact about Jennifer, I went to Christian school for the first
What?
up until fourth grade was my first year in public school, if that explains anything about me.
How am I just now learning this about you? But it also
Yeah.
explains so much.
It explains a lot. So anyways, thank you for being here. Thank you for being in here for Comic Church. Really appreciate it. I want to say hello to everyone in the chat, but I know that we were talking about some really cool stuff that we've got going on for Casually Comics Sunday chat.
Sunday
Fun day comics chat. Mars, what is up with Casually Comics Sunday crew?
All right, y'all. It's a moment y'all been waiting for. It's been highly requested. It's finally here after weeks, literally weeks of stressing and prepping and designing and throwing things at Jen and throwing things at other comic friends and me like, is this okay? Casually Comics now has merch. There is a link. Jen is going to drop, I think, a link in our chat, but we have the little ticker going down below. We also have little banners up on our Twitter and on our Instagrams announcing all of the new merch.
Yeah.
We finally have merch, y'all. Listen, it's everything you guys have been asking for, from the boy howdies to the hashtag hear me out. You want it, you've got it. It is all available for you over on our Teespring. Everything that you see is pretty much fully customizable. You can choose your colors. You can choose the type of stuff that you're representing, from mugs to hoodies to stickers. Listen, we have it all. And there are more designs on the way.
Yeah.
I wasn't able to get everything up before. Listen, we've been planning this launch for a while and it's been a couple setbacks. And I was like, no, we're launching today, whether we like it or not. It's going out the door today. So our merch store is now live. And for our friends who are members, don't buy anything just yet because we have an exclusive member-only code for you. So members get 10% off of everything in the Casually Comics store. We will be posting something about that on the YouTube channel in our little members-only section. Until we have that done, if you want to buy something right this minute, I'm directing this at Sheena specifically because I know she's already adding stuff to her cart. Please DM me or DM Jennifer.
Let us know.
And we will give you the code that you need to get 10% off. So
yeah.
It's all there for you guys. And also just thank you guys for supporting us. It's crazy to think that we've been doing this for almost a year and a half now. And we're now let's make some merch. Let's put our stuff out there. So, everything's fully customizable, y'all.
And I also just have to say, I want to say thank you to Mars, because if it wasn't for you, one, the merch wouldn't have been designed. Two, the store wouldn't even be up because I would just be like, I don't know what to do. So, and then at the first time that the store was like, hey, we're canceling this, the first time that Teespring or TeePublic was like, hey, there's a violation, we're shutting your store down in the first hour, I would have been like, fuck it. So thank you to Mars. All of this has gotten done. So can everyone give Mars a big round of applause? I want to hear y'all
finally putting my college graphic design skills to good work, y'all, by being able to make merch for Casually Comics. And listen, it's probably some of the most fun I've had in weeks. So thank you guys for giving me the opportunity to design such fun stuff.
Yeah, it's amazing, and it would never have happened. One, Mars, if it wasn't for you. Two, if it wasn't for the people who come and hang out with us every Sunday.
Listen, John's just giving me ideas. Listen, every time you tell me something, I go and I write it down and I go to make something. Okay. So listen, it might happen.
Yeah, 100%. The Monster Mash report, the Monster Smash report.
Monster Smash report.
Yeah, well, exclusive merchandise that you can only find here, folks. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it. If I would love to see people getting like pictures. I don't know. It
Yeah, if
amazes
you guys
me.
buy stuff and you get it, definitely DM us pictures of you wearing it, and you'll get blasted on our Twitter and our Instagrams and
Yeah.
probably here on the show. So,
Yeah.
yes, if you buy stuff, definitely tag us in your unboxings, tag us in your pictures of you wearing it, whatever you want to do to support us.
Oh,
We love you for it.
love you so much. So thank you so much for everyone. I like seriously cannot say how much I just love it and appreciate it. I'm going to go ahead and say hello to some people who are in the chat. So if you're here and you're watching, thank you. Please comment and say hello, say howdy, because I want to say hello to you in the chat. First up, we've got Sheena. Hello, howdy, princess. I love you. And then our friend Jarrell. Hello, I made it this week. Thank you, Jarrell, for being here. Hello to Banshee Queen. Howdy and good evening, everyone. James Phelps, evening, casually comics and comic fam. Hello, thank you for being here. John Stout, hi all. Thank you for being here. I've also got, let's see, I'm going down. John with the whoop whoop. Thank you, John. Thank you for the hashtag Hear Me Out, which
Always.
you can buy Hear Me Out merchandise.
You can buy Hear Me Out merchandise. It's official.
Hello to Niall saying hello, everyone. That comic girl saying howdy, friends. Yeah, where's Scott? Where's Scott is a very good question. Yeah.
We're gonna make a new T-shirt. Where is Scott? Have
Where's
you seen
Scott?
this man?
Have you seen Scott? My daughters, I never had you. You made me very proud. Thank you. Let's see here. Hello to our friend Damien. I think that you should be all coffeeed up. I know I've been following your Instagram stories, Twitter stories, where you've been sitting at coffee shops.
I love that.
Hello. Yas. Hi. Hello. Sheena, you paused our flag means death.
Sheena, what have you done?
Um,
We were going to get at least 15 minutes before Jen started talking about our flag means death. What have you done?
Less than 10. Thank you very much. So yesterday, Sheena was like, okay, I'm going to watch Our Flag Means Death, and tagged me in a post. And I'm like, I'm going to start the season all over again. I've watched Our Flag Means Death probably about 10 times.
I finally
finished
it. I finally finished it after being bullied, y'all. So if y'all ever want to know what it's like to be bullied, just be friends with Jen, because she bullied me to finish it. And it was worth it. It was a great show. I loved it.
It's probably the first successful attempt that I've had at bullying you into anything, because one, Sandman, I sent you a copy and you didn't love Sandman Volume 1. I get it. 2, The Many Deaths of Layla Starr.
It's her first success. No, I liked
Layla
Many
Starr.
Deaths.
Okay, but not enough to keep getting it. Swamp Thing. You're waiting for the trades. What else?
Hoxpox. She sent me money for Hoxpox. I still haven't read it.
But Our Flag Means Death. That means a lot.
I did it.
Carrie, evening all. Thank you for being here, Carrie. Evening, Jarrell, here. Evening church is a thing. I had to go to a lot of evening services. Yeah. Ooh. So there's morning and there's evening. And there's every day. Church actually happens every day for some people in some places. So I'm sorry. Moonlit, hello, good evening, and happy Sunday, everyone. Jarrell, need a Let Them Boink shirt.
Listen, I'm not good with coming up with ideas, but when you give me the ideas, then that's when the magic happens. So listen, I'm a cheat. Go ahead, keep doing your little thingies.
Alrighty. Oh my goodness, John already bought 2. Damn, John.
And I can confirm it. I just texted my partner screaming. I'm like, we already made 2 sales. Send out.
Oh my goodness. I love all of this. Thank you all so much. I'm trying to say hello to everyone. So once again,
there's so many people here at night. Hello. At 10 o'clock at night, y'all are here to hear us talk about the comics. It's great.
Well, it's only 6:48 my time. So there's some people. I know Sheena and John are on the West Coast. So not too late for y'all. Super Res, hey y'all. Yeah, no
I
Sandman.
tried.
Mm-mm.
I like the show. I just it 90s, late 80s, 90s writing. I couldn't do it. I tried. Listen. I've got a story for you on this. Okay, hear me out. Hashtag hear me out. I made the scumbag boyfriend army merch. You saw it, okay? Carrie got the scoop when I first made it. I uploaded it to Teespring, which is what we're on now, and immediately got flagged for copyright on that one. So I have something into Teespring trying to get that image back. And as soon as I have it, you will be the first to know.
Yeah. Um, the idea, oh, I can't wait for it. There's a couple that are coming and it's exciting. So y'all will know. You'll see whenever those come out. Hey, and if these other places don't approve them, I'm not saying that I'm gonna like do copyright shit because for legal reasons that's a joke. But for
We'll
legal
get them
reasons,
one way or
yeah,
another. Don't worry, guys.
for sure. Well, now that we pretty much said hello to everyone and the merchandise announcement has been made,
Merchandise
link has
announcement.
been dropped. Um, Typically, we start off with news. So, Mars, what is going on in comic book stuff?
I feel like there was a lot of stuff that happened, but at the same time, not a lot of stuff that happened. So let's kind
Yeah,
of break it down. So the first thing that happened this
break it down
week
for ya.
is we finally, after months of waiting, finally got a trailer for Thor: Love and Thunder.
And
And
I think this has been the smallest time frame between the trailer being released and the movie actually coming out.
yeah,
It's been
because the
one of the
movie comes out
shortest
in
ones.
July.
Hmm.
It's
So
insane.
we've got a 3 month. Is it 3 months now?
Three
Yeah.
months. I'm going to be honest. I'm surprised that we got it at all because we saw with the last Marvel movie, Spider-Man: No Way Home, because Morbius doesn't exist. With the last Marvel movie, our end credit scene was a whole ass trailer for Multiverse of Madness, and I just
Mhm.
assumed maybe this is a new trend that Marvel's going to be doing, where they're going to be just dropping whole ass trailers at the end of their movies. And if I'm being honest, I would totally be okay with that. So I was fully expecting to get our trailer for Thor: Love and Thunder at the end of Multiverse of Madness, but to see them
Ah.
drop something, even though it was so small, and I'm okay with it. I was really surprised. I'm really excited. First off, I have to congratulate Taika Waititi for queer coding Star-Lord while Chris Pratt is probably screaming in his trailer that
Yeah.
he doesn't want to do this. So Taika, you immediately get the biggest award ever created. I thank you for that.
Just
But
that scene in the trailer. So if y'all haven't watched it, there's a moment in the Thor: Love and Thunder trailer where Star-Lord is like, you just need to like look those that you love in the eyes or something like that. Like stare at the one you love, something like that. And Thor is literally just staring at Star-Lord in a
in the
very
most
gay
gay
way.
way possible.
And if y'all like that, there's a little show I'm going to recommend called Our Flag Means Death, and I'll just end it there.
And there it is. But I think the biggest thing that we finally got from this Thor trailer is we finally got to see Jane Foster as Thor. And I'm not going to lie, it gave me the heebie jeebies a little bit. I mean, it's been a long thing coming, but to finally see it in action, it was great. It was fantastic until you went onto the internet and you had all the dude bros who obviously don't read comics
Yeah.
complaining about her being Thor.
And it's funny because all of these times where they it's like nitpicking, where it's like, well, Thor's actually his name, it's not actually a title. And it's like, even when it's a title, y'all
Aren't happy.
aren't happy either. So, for legal reasons, this is a joke, but y'all can just fuck off into the sun. Like, I really don't give a shit at this
It's
point.
literally when people go on the internet complaining about these female characters, She-Hulk, Batwoman,
Yeah.
for Jane Foster, it is literally the biggest definition of tell me you don't read comics without telling me you don't read comics.
My favorite comment that I've ever seen was a comment about She-Hulk saying, why did they make She-Hulk not a love interest for Hulk? Stan Lee would be rolling in his grave. And it's like, y'all, Stan Lee created She-Hulk as not a love interest and made them related. Like,
Yeah.
please go read a comic. Touch grass while you're at it. Go read comics in the park, but please go touch grass.
It's insane. It's just,
Yeah.
it's absolute insanity.
But I'm excited. I think my biggest reservation about Thor: Love and Thunder and seeing Jane Foster Thor, Doctor Thor, as it were, was that I didn't know if I was ready for Natalie Portman to be Jane Foster Thor, because I've never seen her buff. Yes, did I see her like bulk out? Did I see her like do her thing in that SNL skit being Natalie Portman? I'm like, okay, bring that energy to Lady Thor. But I need to see you bulk up. I need to see you get swole. And I finally, in this trailer, I saw you get to see like a little like pinch of
Little
muscle.
muscle.
A little muscle.
Little bit of
So
muscle.
that's what I'm excited for. I want to dream about Jane Foster, Thor, smashing the shit out of me, to be honest. Like, please beat me up, Lady Thor.
I'm here for it. I'm excited. I'm really excited. So that was the start of the week. Then as we kind of go into the middle of the week, there was a little show called Moon Knight that had a very, I don't know how you would call it. It was definitely a very turning point in the series that we've gotten. We're on episode 4, Moon Knight. Ending of Moon Knight kind of did what I've been waiting for them to do the entire time. And I'm trying to like tiptoe around it because I'm sure there's some people that haven't seen it. But when this show started, I mentally was like, I know what I want from this show and I know what I want to see. And rereading the Jeff Lemire and Greg Smallwood run right before as it was running, I'm like, all right, I know exactly what I want from this. And I felt like I wasn't going to get it. And I'm going to be honest, with the starting point of episode 4, I was kind of losing it. And I'm like, I'm not having as much fun anymore. I'm getting really, really bored. And then the last 15 minutes hit and we get the realization where if you're familiar with the character, if you're familiar with the runs that I'm speaking of, it would almost feel kind of obvious that this is the way that the show would go. And I think it sealed the deal that this is the best Marvel property I think we've seen, and that even beats WandaVision. I know you don't feel as strongly about this as I do, but listen, coming hot off of a reread, there are small little things that I'm noticing that they're taking from the comics that I just really, really appreciate them doing. And I just, it's so, what is that thing the Collector does in Guardians of the Galaxy where he's like, perfect, or whatever it is, he's beautiful or something like that. I don't know. That's how I feel every time I watch an episode of Moon Knight. Okay.
I am not. So here's the thing.
I'm going to break my heart now. It's fine.
Only a little bit. So, well, maybe a lot. So when it comes to Moon Knight, I just from the first 3 episodes, I wasn't sold. I was like, this doesn't feel fun to me. This feels confusing. I don't know how to. I get that Moon Knight can be a confusing character, especially when it comes.
That's the whole point of the character.
That is the whole point. I get that, but at the same time, I don't think that it should still make a little bit sense, and it didn't make sense to me. But I will admit, the last like 10-15 minutes of episode 4 were probably the most enjoyable for me out of all of the episodes that I've watched thus far. But it's a really, really low bar to reach because I'm already not having fun. But I'm sure that so many, like, I know that you love this show and I get that, but
it makes me so happy every day. I'm like, Moon Knight. And then every week you can ask my partner this because I feel bad for my partner having to listen to me every week. Every week I'm like, Jake, please give me Jake Lockley already so I can shut the hell up. I just want to see Oscar Isaac in a little newspaper cap and a weird mustache that doesn't belong on his face. It's all I want.
I get that maybe I just need to reread the Jeff Lemire run. I've read some of the older stuff more recently than the Jeff Lemire stuff, so maybe that would be the difference. So maybe I'll go back, try to read that, and come out of it a new person. I am here to report that I have watched Our Flag Means Death season 1 about 15 times now, and that's not an exaggeration.
I need
So
to learn how to make a counter. I don't think we can do it on YouTube the way that you can on like Twitch streams.
mhm.
I need to make a counter every time Jen talks about Our Flag Means Death. If somebody in the chat wants to keep a tally for us,
Yeah.
it would be greatly appreciated.
See, this is why we need Scott here, because Scott was like, what, taking a drink every time we
Take
were
a
talking
shot
about
and
it?
then you drank him to death. It's
Mhm.
fine. That's why Scott's not here, because you drank him to death with how much you talked about Our Flag Means Death.
Yeah, rest in peace, Scott.
Rest in peace
Thank
to
you.
Scott.
So it's literally like my triggers are Dune, Our Flag Means Death, Star Trek. Yeah. So I'm still gonna keep watching Moon Knight, and I'm still like relatively enjoying it, but I'm not enjoying it the way that I did enjoy the other stuff. So
Speaking of Moon Knight,
speaking of Moon Knight,
I went to go and buy. So we were talking about this a couple months ago, because I constantly talk about the Jeff Lemire, Greg Smallwood run, how great it is, but how hard it can be to get those books because they are out of print. I went on this massive rant and was like, oh, by the way, they're reprinting them in a giant collection. Y'all motherfuckers made that shit sell out. Now I can't get my hands on it. It is out of print already, and it literally just released a month ago.
is it like an omnibus? What is it?
It's not necessarily an omnibus, because the Moon Knight run by Jeff Lemire and Greg Smallwood was only about, I think, like 15 or so issues.
Mm-hmm.
So when it was initially released, it was released in 3 trades. This is just kind of like a larger trade that was price pointed at about $35, $36, but had the entire series in it. And now it's already sold out, and I'm very, very sad about it.
Dang it,
But I'm
people.
also very happy because it means more people are reading comics and they're going from Disney Plus to reading the book. But at the same time, I want the book. So if y'all could stop reading comics till I can get the comics, and then when there's leftovers, you can read the comics. No, I'm just kidding. Comics are for everybody.
Yeah.
Buy the merch in the Casually Comic Store down below, link down below. But yeah, no, it's insane. Like, it makes me happy though to think that in less than a month, it has already sold out.
I think that's excellent, and I don't know if it had anything to do with the QR code. So one of the things that I really do like about the Moon Knight show is that they do QR codes, where if you catch it during the show, you can read some of them for free.
But it's been all like the older stuff. I mean, and
But
granted,
I still think that's excellent,
I think it's
because
great.
even though some of the older ones are not like it, they're not that great in my
It's
opinion.
just him beating up Dracula and making funny jokes.
Yeah. But I still think it's like, oh, I can actually read comics. Oh, comics are still a thing. So I think that if it does get comics into the hands of one person, it's done its job. So yeah.
Crazy.
Crazy
Love Moon
girl.
Knight. Love
What
Moon
else?
Knight. So there's one big thing I want to talk about, but I might save it for the end of our little news segment. It feels like we're very media heavy this week. So
Yeah,
have
we
you
are.
been watching a little show? It's on Crunchyroll. I know that's a weird thing for us talking about anime and manga on a comic show. Have you been watching a little show called Spy Family?
I haven't. I don't even know what Spy Family is. So
You're breaking
like
my heart. It's fine.
I'm telling you, I had to watch season 1 of Our Flag Means Death like 5 times.
It's fine. I hope they're paying you. I hope you get paid every time you rewatch it and every time you promote it. I feel like you should at this point.
I should. I really should.
You really should.
Yeah.
So Spy Family is a little book that came out like last year or maybe 2 years ago. I don't know. I started reading it last year. When I say I started reading it last year, I read volume 1, bought bought volumes 3 and 4, but could never get my hands on 2. And now they're on like volume 8 or 9 or whatever, because that's how manga works. But it's a little manga, and now it's an anime, and it's only about 2-3 episodes in. 2 for me because I watch it in English, and it always comes out in English, a week later, which is fine. I can wait.
It's called Spy Family.
Called Spy Family, and it's basically about the spy who has to assassinate a target that is in this like younger kids school. So what he has to do is he has to adopt this daughter and basically get her into school. and then get to his target. But in doing so, he finds out that there's all of these steps. You know, the daughter has to take a test. The family has to go through an interview where both parents have to be present. So then he has to go out and find himself a fake wife. But little does he know, his fake wife is also an assassin, and his fake daughter is a telepath. It's just really, really funny and cute, and I love it. And I don't know, man. I don't watch a ton of anime. I don't read a ton of like traditional manga. You know, I read weird stuff like Dick Fight Island because
like
of you. You know,
classic like Dick Fight
because of you.
Island.
By the way, volume 2 is out and we need to get it.
Oh,
But
I know. I already have it. Already read it, girl.
but
It only
I don't
gets
know.
Islandier and Dick
It's
Fightier.
Islandier and Dick Fightier. But Spy Family is just really cute. It's really funny. I think it's one of those like really easy to jump into, easy to enjoy without it kind of overstaying its welcome and being too traditional anime, for lack of a better word. I don't know. I'm really enjoying it, and all the kids are talking about it. So I guess that makes me a cool kid.
It does.
I'm a
The
cool
the
kid
cool
finally.
kids are talking about it because they heard it here first.
They heard it here first on Casually Comics, where we occasionally talk about manga, but we always talk about comics. That should be our slogan.
Or we casually talk about comics.
We casually talk about comics.
We violently talk about comics.
We do. We violently talk about comics, and you could know all about it if you buy the merch in our store, or even just look at the merch in our store. I'm going to be plugging that damn thing all night with stuff we say. You know, that's why they're called catchphrases, so they can help you market more.
Speaking of, I don't know if I would call it a manga necessarily, but a book to show adaptation that came out, Heartstoppers.
It's a little book called Heartstopper. Look, I came prepared. Listen, y'all heard it here first. I fell in love with this book last year. Okay, falling in love is an understatement. I became obsessed with Heartstopper last year. There's currently 4 books out in the series. It's basically just your little slice of life romance story between 2 young boys, and it's all about exploring your sexuality and coming to terms with your sexuality. And then Netflix decided like a couple weeks ago to be like, oh, by the way, we are making a show for Heartstopper. And I'm like, you're what? And that came out this Friday. So I have watched 3 episodes so far. And I'll be honest, every single episode I've cried at. I have cried completely. I mean, I cry anytime I read this book. Like, it is just the sweetest, most like warm, fuzzy feeling. Like, if you've never had that warm, fuzzy feeling before, experience Heartstopper and you will. I promise, it happens. It melted my cold heart for sure. So, you know, just saying. But when we talk about comic adaptations that have never been more accurate, like, it's Heartstopper. Heartstopper is literally like jumping from the page to the screen. You get all these like really cute, like little animated nuances. Like, it almost looks like when we transition into scenes, it's almost like you're turning the page of a comic, or it's like looking down a different panel, and they split the panels and there's little animation notes. And it's just, it is so fantastic. And if you're not watching it, if you're not reading it, what are you doing with your life? Because it is probably the best comic adaptation that I have ever seen.
Wow.
And that includes Speed Racer, which I finally saw last night.
I'm not going to lie. I saw your tweet about Speed Racer, and you're like, this is the best movie that was ever made. And I'm like, what? But then, like, you weren't here, I guess, like 10 plus years ago when it was released, and it bombed.
I don't know how, because I don't know how. We're getting off track here at Casually Comics, but that's because it's late at night. I'm having a ton of caffeine, so I'm a little off the rails. My partner sat me down to watch Speed Racer last night for the first time. And when I say that my jaw literally dropped to the floor because it is probably the best thing I have ever seen. Like, I don't know much about Speed Racer, okay? I'm not going to try to pretend that I watched it when I was a kid or whatever. But everything about it just felt like an old 60s anime. And I fucking, like, the way that they talked, the way that they were dressed, the action, I'm like, I'm having a fun time. And when that dude jumped out of his little car and did the little pose, I'm like, okay, now this is the best adaptation we've ever seen.
Okay. That really surprises me. I have not gone back and watched Speed Racer, so I can't speak to it. But one thing that I do want to say about
Good movie
Heartstopper,
though.
because I bought the first volume like a year ago, didn't read it. I finally read it
For shame.
a couple of days ago, and I loved it. The book. I haven't watched the show, but I love the book so much. It's so heartwarming, and I am 100%. I don't know if anyone, like, if you liked Heartstopper, the show or the movie, I would 100% recommend Check Please,
Yes, the two are very
because
similar. I
they
would
feel
also
very.
recommend Bloom.
Oh, yeah.
Bloom by that one's by Paulina Ganucheau and Kevin Panetta, I believe is his name. It's published by First
Canetti.
Second. It is literally, it's almost like what came first, the chicken or the egg, because these two books are so similar and yet so
Yeah.
different that if you like one, you're obviously going to like the other.
Yeah. And I would also say, if you like Heartstopper, you should also watch Our Flag Means Death, because Ben and
Gay.
so gay, and it's 100% a high school version of Steed, Bonnet, and Ed Teach, but not gay pirates, but they're gay and they're high school kids in England.
So gay English high school kids, gay English pirates. Got it.
Yeah.
We've got it.
Yeah.
So there's one last bit of news that's actually comics related. I mean, everything's kind of comics related.
I've got another one that I don't think that we talked about, but I've got another one when you're done.
But there was a bit of really, really big news that came out this week that literally left me like starstruck, and like, you can ask Jen. I texted her and I'm like, you need to look at this, because I'm currently in the middle of my office and I'm crying hysterical over the news of this. So Connor Hawke is known, if you've watched the show, you know I'm a huge fan of Green Arrow, a huge fan of the Green Arrow family. Connor Hawke, I have constantly talked about how he is the best boy. I love him so much. DC Comics needs to do more stuff with him. We started to see him appear in the new Robin series that's being written by what's his name? Williams. He writes everything right now. I don't know. I'm blanking.
Joshua Williamson.
Joshua Williamson. Thank you. There it is. Connor Hawke's been showing up more and more, and it was announced on Tuesday, you know, because we're getting ready to go into Pride Month. DC Comics has a bunch of stuff planned for Pride, way more than Marvel does, by the way. Thank you, DC Comics. But the editors at DC Comics and a bunch of the comic creators that are working on it announced that Connor Hawke is set to be asexual, and I feel like it's huge for I've been coding that kid as queer from the beginning. So to feel like DC Comics has validated how I have seen the character really just makes me really, really happy. And it makes me happy to know that Oliver Queen has a gay son. Okay. That makes me so happy that they have a queer son. But I think the idea that we're getting asexual representation in comic books, I feel like that is, you know, an orientation on the spectrum we don't get to see enough representation of, mainstream comics or otherwise. And it feels like DC's been pushing more and more with some of these more, not lesser known, but maybe lesser represented, you know, queer identities. So we've been getting more non-binary representation from them, more trans representation. Now we're going to see more asexual representation. And I think it's just really exciting that, you know, it feels like more and more we're seeing more and more representation, and more readers and more fans seeing themselves in these characters.
I agree. And I think, you know, I'll be honest, I really, truly, despite it being one of your favorite characters, I don't know too much about one. I don't know too much.
Yeah, because you don't love me.
No, and not at all. I love you a little bit more because you did watch Our Flag Means Death. But what I would say is that I got a chance to kind of go through a little bit of history of Connor, and it makes so much sense. Like, a lot of the little pieces that were put together. And so for those of you who don't know what being asexual means, so if you see LGBTQIA plus, you know, little alphabet mafia here. Asexual is on the spectrum of people who don't necessarily feel sexual attraction or maybe limited sexual attraction. It's a spectrum. And so for people who don't, or maybe even people who are aromantic, so it's basically people who they're maybe like desire, it's not motivated by sexual desire. And when you go back to this character, I think that a lot of times that character was compared to his father, who
Is a
I
horn
would say
dog.
is a horn dog. So not only, I don't necessarily want to say that, like, well, compared to his dad, of course he's asexual, but um, he's definitely been coded that way. So it's really interesting to see that finally that A in the alphabet army and the alphabet mafia has been, we get to see some representation, because I know people in my life who are asexual, and I would love to be able to recommend more reading for them, more characters, and that they can see. And this is just one more that they can see on the page and maybe on the screen.
It's exciting. I'm really, really excited for it. And like I said, even just getting more representation from the character in general, but to see, like I said, seeing as somebody who has read him for years and has kind of idealized him as being queer coded, it makes me just really excited to, finally get that confirmation from, not that we need confirmation because you can
Yeah,
idealize characters however you want, but to know that it is, it kind of gives you a little pep in your step.
yeah. Um, there is one more kind of piece of news that I thought was really interesting, kind of sad, interesting, whatever. But for those of you who haven't seen, there's like a whole bunch of stuff going down with Netflix. Over the past couple months, we've seen Netflix say, okay, we're going to go ahead and increase our prices. They're going to bump up to like $20, which is kind of a lot, especially if you're paying for all the other streaming services. But apparently, Netflix was supposed to, they were estimated to, they were going to like gain 2.5 million subscribers, but instead they ended up losing about 250,000. And
Oh,
so their stock prices just absolutely tanked. And because of this, their animation studio has pretty much been dissolved.
yikes.
And in doing so, one of the projects that got cut and is no longer in development at Netflix is Bone by Jeff Smith.
Bone.
So I'm kind of sad about that.
And I feel like
Um,
one that's been in development for literal years.
yeah.
Like I feel like that has kind of almost been, it's ironic because we just talked about pneumonia last
Nimona.
week, which got picked up by Netflix and has been kind of shopped around and has gone through its own kind of developmental hell. So maybe Disney will pick up Bone and Netflix can keep Nimona, or maybe Amazon will pick up Bone. I
Yeah.
can't see, as sad as I am, I can't see this being the end for Bone because it is really, I think it's just really, really marketable. And I believe that it should, and Josue coming in, taking the words right out of my mouth, should be an extremely easy property
Yeah.
to adapt and to kind of not only adapt it, but kind of expand upon it. So
Yeah.
I personally, I'm sad that it's not getting its due from Netflix after it was long promised, but I don't think it's going to be the end we see from Bone.
I agree. And as much as, it saddens me because, and this is me just being selfish, because I'm like, damn it, I don't get to see another comic adaptation on my medium screen. It's not the big screen, it's not the small screen, it's the medium screen. But there's so many jobs and so many people are coming out and being like, yeah, I was on Netflix animated animation stuff, and I'm fucked. So it kind of sucks when things like that happen. But Netflix is, for me personally, kind of on the chopping block. I don't know if anyone else has already dropped Netflix or if you plan on it. The only thing keeping me subscribed to Netflix is a comedy show called I Think You Should Leave,
Hmm.
which is up there with Our Flag Means Death obsession. So
Not Heartstopper.
yeah.
Not
Um
Heartstopper. I see how it is.
uh I haven't watched it yet, so I don't know.
It's fine.
Anyways, that's pretty much it for news. What else do we got?
We actually have comics.
We actually have comics.
Some comics.
I know normally we don't we're like, sorry guys, no comic books this week.
We
We
actually have
didn't.
comics.
I'm just kidding. I've got a pretty good stack. I didn't get too many variants. I haven't bagged and boarded any of them, but I'm sad to say the two that I was most excited for, I left on like the back end of my stack, and I haven't read them. And I'm like 99% sure that you have, but I haven't read Bolero or Catwoman Lonely City. Those are
Oh
the two that I left. I left
no!
these two for last, and I haven't gotten to them. So I deeply
It was
apologize.
even our banner, and she didn't read it. That's it, guys. Show's canceled.
I'm
Pack it
sorry.
up. We're going home.
I'm sorry, but I did read a whole bunch of other ones. But
I
those were
read
the two that I'm like,
not.
I can't wait to read these. I'm gonna save them
See,
for last.
this week I felt like I feel like I did not read a whole lot, but then when I look at my list, I'm like, oh, I read 8 books, which is kind of standard, at least for
Yeah,
myself. I feel like I'm anywhere between 8 to 12 in terms of reading for the week. But I'll be honest, I did not read a single Marvel book. There was not a single thing from Marvel that I read this week, and I'm curious to see what you have, to see what I missed. But I think it's time, chat. You know the drill. If you've been here before, you always get to make us decide what we talk about first. So, Indie
really quick,
DC.
really quick, because I have one other piece of news that we didn't talk about.
Uh-oh.
So while the chat, I need to know, chat, please leave a comment. Do we start with DC? Do we start with Marvel? Do we start with Indies? Let us know. My piece of news that I have is that Image, baby girl, what are you doing?
Oh,
Why the fuck are we getting into NFTs, Marvel or Image? You literally thought that it was a good idea to be like, we're doing NFTs and we're going to link it to a little book called The Secret History of Weed. Image.
I was on Twitter and I saw that stupid monkey pop up and I had to do a triple check because I'm like, wait, does that say Image Comics? And then I scrolled back up and I was like, that's the stupid NFT monkey.
Yeah. So leave a like, leave a comment, trashing NFTs, please and thank you, because
Please and thank you.
yeah. So anyways, I just had to shame Image for thinking that they're going to get into NFTs and that for some reason that was a good fucking idea, because NFTs, no fucking thanks.
No, thank you.
Okay. So, now that I got that stupid little rant out of the way, what are we doing, folks?
It's like we're pulling in for indies.
Looks like we do.
Looks like
Indies.
we're pulling in for indies.
I got,
So joke's on y'all. I only have 2 indie books this week.
I've
Okay, I
got
lied. I have 3 indie books this week.
excellent. What do you got?
Well, the first one is a little book called Bolero Number 4, which you did not read. And man, I'm not gonna spoil it because you haven't read it yet. This book we kind of get into more of the I'm bad with names. I'm sorry if I don't remember names of characters in books. It doesn't mean I don't love your book any less or any more. But the main character's partner, the one that she's been after, and why she's doing this kind of time travel time hop thing. It felt like this issue really did focus on her. It was a lot of self-actualization and self-realization. And I think at the end of it, it was a lot of self-love. And listen, with the way that my week went, I needed a book like this. I needed a book that kind of preached that whole self-love and that, you're awesome and you're worthy and a badass and you can do whatever you set your mind to. And it was just, I am really, because this is the penultimate issue.
It is,
And
yeah.
I'm both very curious to see where this book goes because I'm still trying to figure out how this book is going to wrap up in one issue because it felt like, it's taken us in so many different directions where we've gone here, we've gone there, but now we've got one more issue left. And I'm both very curious to see where this book is going to take us, but I'm also extremely sad to see this book go because it continues to be my favorite book, I think, of 2022.
100%. 2022 is about halfway over.
We're about halfway there, yeah.
And this book was so surprising. It makes me sad that not more people are talking about it. The fact that I see more people talking about Rain than I see talking about Bolero,
I
it
hate it
makes me
so much.
it makes me so sad.
It makes
But
me mad. It makes me angry.
angry. Because this book is so good. And you're right, because this book, for those of you who don't know, if we haven't talked about it enough, this book is basically about a breakup. And the main character, once again, bad with names, but um, she ends up breaking up. She's really sad. She gets a key to unlocking multiple universes where she can jump. She's got a limited amount of jumps where she jumps into just insane universes. Like we see a universe where gender swapped universe. We see a
The Pride
universe.
and Prejudice. That's what I'm calling it, is the Pride and Prejudice universe. And listen, we have Wyatt Kennedy in the chat, who is the writer
Ah,
for Bolero. So perfect timing, friend. Please transport me to the Pride and Prejudice universe. Like, listen, just take my partner there. We'll just be dropped off together. No more time hopping. No more nothing. I will gladly live in Pride and Prejudice world forever.
yeah. Um, so if we haven't like already sold you on this book, I'm really sorry because it's so good. And I just have to say, like, there's talking cats in it. Like basically, like this is Luna. Like
It
if
is
y'all,
Luna.
it is Luna. Right now, he is literally, I'm not even joking, y'all. He is literally like laying on his back like this, just looking at me over there. Anyways, so seriously, please read Bolero. The next issue comes out next month, and it's the final issue. I could live in this world forever. Wyatt Kennedy,
It's just so good.
let us know. Uh, I would
Keep us
love to
posted.
see. I would love to see like more and more and more and more and more of Bolero. Let us know how we can get it. So, thank you.
What else did you read this week?
What else did I read?
Yeah, what did you actually read this week?
Okay. The book I did read, Homesick Pilots. It's the penultimate issue of Homesick Pilots, so issue 15 is going to be the last.
Really?
Yeah. So this is issue 14. The next issue, issue 15, is going to be the last one, and it wraps up the series. This book by Dan Waters and Casper Wingard. I'm really sorry if I'm
Terrible with names
right.
here.
Lettering by Aditya Bidikar. It's so beautiful, and it turned out being so much different than I thought it was going to be. It sounds like with this one, I don't want to like spoil it. It's issue 14, but they're going to like get back into the kind of like original spot where they were in the beginning. I think issue 15 is going to wrap up and wreck us emotionally. So
yeah, because that's a weird little book that it started as a book where it was just like your fun little teenage romp. They get
mhm.
a house, and then it turned
90s
into this weird
nostalgia about a band.
into this weird like mech cosmic ghost pilot type thing. And it got to the point where I couldn't do the single issues anymore because it was just it was so brain fuddling. It was just what the fuck issue after issue. But
Yeah.
that is definitely one that I'm gonna want to pick up, as I do have the first trade. I need to reread it.
Mhm.
But it is one of those ones that, oh my god, it's so pretty.
It
It
really
is so
is. And I'm just gonna like I love
The
how
designs are so weird and bizarre, and I just like, why aren't more people talking about that? Instead, everybody's talking about fucking Rain.
yeah, for real.
I'm just gonna
Um,
bash Rain. We're gonna have a special episode of Casually Comics where for 2 hours you can listen to me bash about Rain, and we will hold a fundraiser, and all of those fundraisers will go to like the Trevor Project or something pro
ooh, there we
LGBTQ. But
go.
there you go. And you just hear me bash Rain for 2 hours. We'll get Joe Hill on the show and everything. It'll be a fun time.
Shaming them. So anyways, pick up Homesick Pilots if you can. It sounds like, it like I said, it's ending with the next issue that is next month. So then you'll probably be able to get a trade in the following months. I know we talked, the last two issues the last two series that we just spoke about were the finale issue or the penultimate issues of series, but there's another series that started this week, and there is Dark Beach, which is published by Behemoth Comic Books, Behemoth Comics, and this one was actually pretty decent. I liked the artwork, and I'm really sorry that I get really bad at this, but it's created by Michael J. Ruiz Unger, and the artist is Sebastian Perez, colors by Ray Jones. I loved the artwork of this book. It felt, it's kind of sci-fi-y.
That's surprising because Behemoth, I feel like, has been hit or miss, but lately it feels like they've been extremely miss.
This one was a hit for
This
me.
was a hit.
I went ahead and added it to my pull list. I think it's a 4-issue miniseries. So if you like kind of like a sci-fi, I don't necessarily want to say like murder-y, adventure-y type thing. But yeah, I enjoyed it. Dark Beach, y'all.
Very exciting.
Yeah.
There was actually another book this week that ended, and I was very, very surprised that it ended this week. It was one of those where I read it and I'm like, it seems like there should be one more issue. And then I went and I looked at previews. I looked at the solicitation for the trade, which has been released. And it was the finale. And that was a little book called Animal Castle.
Oh, yeah.
Animal Castle ended this week, and I don't want to spoil it, but, it seemed like it should have been one of those books that had a very clear beginning and a very clear ending, and this book did not, and it ends in probably the darkest way possible, and I fucking loved it. That being said, I will say this book, I noticed this book has been very difficult to read issue to issue because it feels like there's a lot going on. Once this book hits in trade format, which it has already been solicited, you definitely need to pick it up because I think reading this book from start to finish, it's going to be one of those that, it's fucking, Animal Castle's insane. That's all I can say. I don't know if there's a second volume. I think Hostway's commenting on this saying it's not over. There has to be a second volume. I don't know about that because I know I've talked about it before on the channel, but Animal Castle was actually a French publication and it was brought over into English translations and was published by Ablaze. And it's been a little while since that book has come out. So I feel like that might be the end. I think that's the point of the end. I think for it to be that open-ended, you got to think about it this way. Animal Castle is a homage. It's an adaptation, a very loose adaptation of Animal Farm. So it makes sense if they wanted it to be, very, very different and very unexpected and makes you really think about it. So, I need y'all to pick up this book because I still can't believe what happened.
I agree. I also have Animal Castle FOMO.
Because you missed out on that one.
I think I picked up issue 1. Maybe I didn't read it, or maybe I just didn't pick up issue 2. But it wasn't like maybe it wasn't at the shop, or maybe I just didn't pick it up. Whatever it was, but you raved about it every single month that it came out.
And it's very dense, but it is so good.
And you hate dense.
I hate dense. I do hate dense.
Yeah.
I do hate dense. I still feel like the only gripe I think I have with this book is that I wish it went darker in some places because that first issue went super, super dark. And I feel like we finally got to see that super, super dark kind of theme return in the final issue, and then it ended. So if I had to say one bad thing, that would be it.
Okay. Definitely I'll pick that up and I'll 100% pick that up in trade. And I hope Ablaze does the like $9.99.
I know. Ablaze is doing $25 because it's a hardcover.
So, okay then. That's where the dumb bitch money ends, folks.
There it is.
I'm just kidding. It doesn't, because I'll still buy the dumb shit.
What other books did you read this week? What other indie titles you got?
Another indie title that I read this week that I really, really love. Y'all have heard me talk about it before, and that's Land of the Living Gods. Sorry, I've got a cranky little cat asking for food. But Land of the Living Gods is a really fun, like dystopian, but set in a world that's like dystopian from an African diaspora. And one of the things that I love about it is that it has like slang from several different African languages,
Mm-hmm.
including like Zulu and South African, which is really, really fun. But it's following these characters, and there's this really interesting like mythology built around technology. I really like this book a lot, and it's published by Aftershock.
Hmm.
Once again, another sleeper
I
hit.
see. I just keep thinking to myself, how did I miss that one? Because I don't even remember reading the first issue.
And once again, because I'm really, really bad at always making sure that I shout out the creators, and I want to make sure I get better at that.
We need to get better at that. It's so
Yeah,
much, y'all.
especially when I'm on Twitter bullying news outlets for not.
To be fair, you bullied a news outlet because they showed exclusive art from a book, but then only credited the writer, which made no sense.
They were like, check out the artwork for the new Scott Snyder book. And I'm like, bitch, when does Scott Snyder draw? Like,
He's
anyway.
not no Tom King.
So, anyways, this issue is issue number 3 of Land of the Living Gods, and Isaac Mogajane, I really hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, Mogajani, perhaps, is the writer, and Santos is the artist and colorist, and Dave Sharp is the letterer for Land of the Living Gods. Normally, Aftershock does these books that are 4 or 5 issues. I wouldn't be surprised if they did that, but this is such an immersive world that I feel like it could go on for
longer.
Quite a while. I would really like that. Land of the Living Gods, if you like sci-fi, if you like Black Panther, like if you maybe wanted to watch Black Panther but set in a dystopia, like a post-apocalyptic dystopia, you would like Land of the Living Gods. Afrofuturism, but not as optimistic. Yeah. That was another one that I got that I really like. Isaac Mogajani and Santos. Another book that I got, issue number 21, always just fucking kills it.
I knew it before you even bought it up. I was like, she's going to talk about Philadelphia.
I love Philadelphia, y'all. I love Rodney Barnes. I love Jason
Hashtag Rodney Barnes for Swamp Thing. New merch coming soon.
I need Rodney Barnes doing Swamp Thing. It's so funny to me because there's so many series that get to issue like 16, 17, and I'm just like, oh my God, okay, I'm done with the series. Why is this still on my pull list? And this one just still continues to, whether it is making obviously this one makes a lot of political statements without making a lot of political statements. But then really gets to the heart of so what's going on in Philadelphia. If you didn't know, Philadelphia has been under attack by vampires, and they have like at this point they have like closed off the city, so there's people scavenging for like medical supplies, and anyways, more and more stuff just happens. It's really good. It's so intense. Please pick this up. Please, Rodney Barnes for Swamp Thing. And if you haven't watched Winning Time on HBO. Winning Time is a show about the LA Lakers that I love. Do I play sports? No. Do I watch sports? No. Do I really know anything about sports? No. But I love Winning Time about the LA Lakers.
Because Rodney Barnes wrote it.
Because Rodney Barnes, so.
I was trying to get you to connect those, and you didn't.
Sorry.
You had to give me a little push there.
Yeah. Sorry. So Rodney Barnes is part of Winning Time, which is absolutely great. So please watch that as well after you've watched the first season of Our Flag Means Death on HBO.
Okay. So there was a new book that came out this week from Dark Horse Comics called The Collector Unit 713.
Wait, say that one more time.
The Collector Unit 713. Did you get a chance to read it?
What the fuck? I have no clue.
Okay, so I'm here to read the weird books that you don't. So
that's different because normally I'm here reading all the
usually
weird
it's Jen reading the weird books. So the Collector Unit 713 is a new book from Dark Horse Comics. It was very, very strange, and it makes me question. Listen, I am here to champion that comics is a medium to be explored and to kind of break the boundaries of storytelling. But sometimes I look at a book like Collector Unit 713 and I'm like, did this really need to be a comic? Did we really, really need this to be published? So I'm going to kind of try to break it down. It's basically the story about these American and Russian prisoners, I believe, during like maybe World War II. I don't know. They don't really specify when. They just say that they're American and Russian and other prisoners that are
Okay.
taken by the Japanese, and the Japanese are going to experiment on them. One group is going to get this weird plague type thing. The other group is going to be told that they get the plague type thing, but don't actually get the plague type
So, like
thing.
placebo control group type.
Placebo control group, think like the experiment and what's the Stanford prison experiment, stuff like
Mhm.
that. Listen, I'm totally into stuff like that, and part of me was like, oh, this book is really, really interesting. There's no motives, there's no character moments, there's nothing that really is memorable about this book. It's just kind of there to exist, and I don't know. It was weird. It was
Was it good?
bizarre. I,
Wow.
maybe. I mean, it wasn't awful. I've definitely read worse things, but it's forgettable. Maybe in a trade it would be better. But again, it begs the question, does everything need to be a comic?
Yes.
Sure.
Comics are for everyone. Comics are for everything. Everything
Comics
is
are for everyone.
everyone
Everything
is
is
for comics. That's the new hashtag. Everything and everyone is for comics.
there it is. It was weird.
New merch.
It was very weird. It was a very weird book. And the fact that you didn't even pick it up,
No.
kind of speaks
It wasn't even on my
volumes.
radar.
Kind of speaks volumes about it.
Yeah. Whoo. Well, one of the books that I know, I don't think that you read this one, single issues. I don't think you read it really in trade. That I did get by Image Comics is Ice Cream Man.
I've read like the first two trades of Ice
Okay.
Cream Man. Have I kept up with it? No, but I have read it.
So the series is great. Please pick it up.
What issue are we on?
This is issue 24.
Huh.
29. This is issue 29. And it just, I don't want to say it gets weirder and weirder, but
But it gets weirder and weirder. He's playing off of Dr. Seuss.
100%. And then this there was an issue where they do like a family tree type thing. There's an issue where they go into like this Kafka metamorphosis type theme. Well, this one right here was an issue about kind of like what, not necessarily what happens after you die, but what do you leave behind for other people when you die? Do you leave behind your shit? Like, do you leave behind like a trail of emotional baggage? Do you leave behind just like your CD collection that no one really wants, or like what do you leave behind for people?
I would
This,
leave behind 16 boxes worth of comics. You're welcome.
yeah. Uh, whew. So this book, I didn't. This is one of my least favorite issues of this, even though it got really deep. Maybe that's why I didn't love it, because I'm like, oh, I'm gonna leave behind thousands of comic books. Woohoo! But anyways, I really like it. It's a book. It's published by Image Comic Books. It is written by W. Maxwell Prince, and the artwork is done by Martin Morazzo. Colors by Chris O'Halloran, and lettering by Good Old Neon in this issue. So they do fun themed issues. Sometimes they're really spooky and creepy, but this one's just kind of creepy. Yeah. One of the things that I love about it is that it is great single issue by single issue because you can pick them up
Because
whenever.
it's an anthology.
Yeah. But this one was one that lost me. But apparently the next one looks like it's going to be because they've got a mouse in a maze. So it looks like it's going to be a Flowers for Algernon. And if you've never read Flowers for Algernon, if you didn't read it in middle school and have it fuck you up when you're like 10 years old, please go read it, because it's a really sad story. It's a really sad story about this medical trial for a new drug that can turn people with mental disabilities and make them smarter. And there is a patient, and you hear their account of them taking the drugs and the effect, and then they go from being really like mentally challenged to much smarter, and they are a couple of weeks behind a mouse who is also taking the drugs to become smarter. The mouse is named Algernon.
Oh,
And
geez.
so they see the effects of the mouse knowing that the effects are going to happen to them. It's really, really good. So I really hope that's going to be the one that breaks me. So, anyways, any other books? I've got like 4 more.
I have no indie books. I am indeed out.
Okay. Also, checking in late, Scott, we needed you earlier.
Scott, what the hell, man?
We
were gonna put your picture, we were gonna put your face on a t-shirt, kind of like a milk carton, sell it as merch.
Where
make all
Scott?
The funds donated to finding Scott. So
yeah, we needed help. I mean, we need help all the time, but thank you for being here, Scott. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 indie books. I'll go through them.
Okay, so apparently Jen's doing a solo show tonight, y'all. Wait, you picked up a Magic the Gathering book and I didn't? What
I can't tell you why I pre-ordered it, because I'm not very good at Magic the Gathering. Or I mean, like, I've played it before, and but I picked up one of the other ones. This one I really liked. I really liked this character. I thought the artwork was beautiful. And so Magic the Gathering, The Hidden Planeswalker, published by Boom Studios.
So what if I told you that character in question, which is Liliana of the Veil, what if I told you that there are little play mats, which is what people put their cards on when they're at competitions. There are some very suggestive ones of her making out with other girls, and Wizards banned those. If you are playing in a tournament for Magic the Gathering, you cannot have a playmat that has these images on it because it's considered distracting to the other players.
Someone needs to tell me where these mats are, so I
got you, pal.
That's disgusting, and I know where to avoid them.
I got you, pal.
I really liked it. I thought it was fun. I really can't tell you other than she just like harnesses some really cool power.
She's a bad bitch.
Yeah. So I really enjoyed it. The story is done by Marguerite Scott and illustrated by Fabiano Mascolo, colored by Francesco Segala, and lettered by Ed Dukeshire. I really liked it. I may actually add this one to my list, even though I have no clue. I don't know anything about Magic.
Yeah, I was going to read it, and then I was like, if I read it, I'm just going to be talking about it to myself, because the last Magic the Gathering series, you were like, yeah, I've read it, no clue what's going on. Have fun, kid. And now you're reading it without me, so I'm a little sad. I'm a little depressy.
Yeah. You want to know how I got the Liliana mini? I pre-ordered it through Comics Hub, so that's how I do all my stuff. Anyways, let's see. I did pick up, because I pre-ordered it, The Secret History of the War on Weed. So it does
get the NFT cover.
I didn't, because no fucking thanks to NFTs. So this book, what it does is it gives you a little bit of a history of kind of the war on weed, and basically it starts off, literally the first line is, the drug war was a racist prohibitionary catastrophe, and that's not just like our opinion, that's the truth. So it just like really digs into it, but it's kind of a fictional account of what can happen. But seriously, when you have splash pages, I don't know if I'm doing it justice. I'm gonna full screen myself really quick. Oh no!
Full screens don't work anymore.
But anyways, if you can see, if you have artwork that looks like this in anything, like, I'm 100% sold on it. So anyways, this book was written by our friend Gary Jerry Dugan Duggan. And Brian Posen, and the artist is Scott Koblish. The colorist is Hi-Fi, which is a studio, and the letterer is Clayton Cowles. So it does get a little bit trippy, and it does give you some pages. So when you're stoned out of your mind reading a comic book, you can do a little crossword puzzle.
And write in your comic book?
So from what I understand, this one's a one-shot. I wouldn't expect anything more out of this, but I'm glad I picked up the physical copy instead of buying into whatever the fuck Image thinks an NFT is.
Oh my goodness. It's outstanding to me. Outstanding. Yeah.
Next book on my list is going to be We Don't Kill Spiders, number 4.
That's still going?
Yeah, that's what I said. It's the writing and art is done by Joseph Schmalke, letters by DC Hopkins. I'm kind of lost on this one. I picked it up mostly because it was on my pull list. I'm probably just gonna wait until it becomes a trade because
That's
I
a
think,
scout book, isn't it?
yeah, Black Caravan is a Scout imprint.
Oh,
Um, so kind of confused on where I'm at right now.
see, that's why. Listen, I have a love-hate relationship with Scout because they have published some really great stories, like A King's Vengeance. It Eats What Feeds It. And these are stories that I would really, really like to continue with, but I'm sorry, I'm not going to wait 3 or 4 months between issues. And we'll get more into that later, but I don't want to wait 3 to 4 months between issues and then completely forgot what I've read. It's
That's
just not worth it.
about this. So I'm probably going to drop it off my pull list and go ahead and wait for the trade. There's something else that Joseph Schmalke did, and I can't remember. Was it like an anthology or something?
I'm not sure.
I can't remember, but I'm definitely going to try to read this in trade to be like, yeah. Another book that I read, Black Hammer Reborn, number 11. I'm pretty sure this series is wrapping up
I
soon.
think there's one more issue.
Yeah, that sounds about right. It is written by Jeff Lemire, artwork by Caitlin Yarsky, who I love. Caitlin Yarsky has done some work with Sean Lewis, who did Bliss. Great story.
Yeah.
Um, and also colorist is Dave Stewart, and the letter is Nate Piekos of Blambot. So if you liked the Black Hammer universe, this is like some other characters in the Black Hammer universe. It's pretty good.
And it's an anthology too.
And I would say you could just read, you could, this one isn't. Black Hammer Legends was the anthology. This one isn't. So this one follows a different character in that universe. But you do see the other Black Hammer.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I would say you could totally read this without having to read the other like 11 volumes of the Black Hammer universe stuff.
Yeah, because it's huge. I was looking into it because I'm like, I wonder where I left off with Black Hammer. And next thing you know, it's like there's 40 different things that I've completely missed out on.
John Stout is saying Joseph Schmalke did Cherry Blackbird, which
that first issue was insane.
Those first 2-3 pages of the first issue are nuts.
Absolutely nuts.
Okay, last one on my indie list before we get into Marvel or DC. So in the chat, go ahead and get ready. Tell us if you want us to do Marvel or DC next. Go ahead and comment. The last book is an IDW one-shot in the Star Trek universe, and it is Ferengi. The future is female. So for those of you who don't know, Ferengis, the females of the Ferengi race, are subjugated. Is that the word that I'm looking for? They are kind of seen as lesser, and it's like a running joke, especially in Deep Space Nine. Like the women aren't allowed to wear clothes and they have to like stay at home all the time. Yeah, totally funny and not like a bad, just sexist joke. But anyways, if you know anything about Ferengi, you know they're like modus operandi is just making profit. Making profit is all they do. The rules of acquisition say that, like, you know, all 140 something of them say that you have to make profit above all else. Well, what happens when a woman wants to come in and make profit, and not only that, is doing it better than the dudes? It's really good. And I really love this cover, and I really love Quark down here. Just, you know, he's like, meh, meh, see? Women
this is a segment of the show where Mars can't contribute because Mars has never and will never watch Star Trek.
That makes me sad. If I can get through shit like the not Mandalorian,
Book of Boba Fett.
if I can get through Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett, you can get through Star Trek. It's gay without being gay. It's definitely a queer baiting show.
Nah.
But now that we talked about our indies, do we want to do Marvel or DC? I see one for DC.
I see one vote for DC. Good, because I have no Marvel books this week. I don't know how I managed that, but I have zero Marvel books.
Well, how about this? I know they're saying DC, but how about I go through Marvel really quick and then we go to DC because we'll both have some.
That's fine.
Okay. So first on the list is Spider-Gwen Gwenverse, issue number 2.
You've read issue 2?
Yeah. it just gets it's a lot. I'm not sure I'm in love with it, but I'm buying it just to kind of feel like I know what's going on. There's a ton of different Gwens. It's kind of
Love
fun,
one.
but I'm
Love
still just
one.
there's a lot going on. Like, I know that you would hate it because, like, look at how much is going on here. That's just a lot of panels and a lot of talking
I'm
for
out.
a spider.
Immediately I'm out.
It's not horrible.
That's again coming back to the previous segment of our show. That is just one thing where I'm like, did this really need to be a comic? Did
No.
we really need to put our time, effort, money, hard work into this comic? Not really. Are there other characters that should get series? Like,
I
a little girl called Scarlet Witch, maybe, but it is what it is.
I think that this one was definitely a cash grab because I wouldn't say that Marvel is now realizing the property that is Spider-Gwen, but I definitely think that they're here to take all the money, and they're taking some of my money. But I think one of my biggest problems with it is that it's written by Tim Seeley, and I think
Oof.
that Tim Seeley is just putting a lot of Tim Seeley has like a chip on his shoulder, and he really wants to put a lot of stuff into it that I don't think needs to be in a Spider-Gwen book at all. Let Tim Seeley write some good books. Like, I would say, hey, let Tim Seeley write Moon Knight.
Yeah,
I think that would be a good one.
I think
But
that'd be a good fit.
I don't think I like him on a Spider-Gwen book. Put someone like Kelly Thompson or Kelly Sue DeConnick or um, I don't know, those people
Yeah.
on a Gwen book. But so anyways, it's written by Tim Seeley. The artist is Jody Nishijima. Federico Blee is the colorist, and VC's Ariana Maher is the letterer. So there's that. I did read Doctor Strange Nexus of Nightmare. Once again, I'm kind of confused. It's written by Ralph Macchio, but not the Ralph Macchio from the other thing. The artwork in this book by Ibrahim Mustafa is really what sold this to me. There's a lot going on, and I think this is going to be a really good companion to the Doctor Strange movie. But I love it for the artwork more than I love it for the writing because Ibrahim Mustafa is just
Mm-hmm.
incredible.
Yeah, their art was really, really great.
The other one that I actually really, really liked, and it's weird for me, but I really enjoyed Captain America. This is issue number 0, and
Hmm.
it kind of picks up where the last kind of romp of the two Captain Americas are. And they basically say, hey, we're going to go ahead and we're going to share the title of Captain America. Like, let's have both. So here
I
we go.
agree.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
agree with that 100%.
Yep. And then that was it for Marvel. So that was just 3 books for me for Marvel.
Okay, so not too bad. Not
Yeah.
missing out on too much there. Because
And
I literally looked at the Marvel list and I was like, I have absolutely nothing for Marvel. So I think I'm just gonna come right out the gate. There were 2 Catwoman books that came out this week.
I read one of them.
Both Catwoman books were very, very horny. One was horny in a good way, and the other one was horny in a very bad way.
Okay, so I didn't read Catwoman Lonely City, and please tell me Catwoman Lonely City was horny in a good way.
No, that was horny in a bad way. Well, at least for me, it was horny in a bad way. So, I have some gripes with this book. So it's been a while since we've had issue 2. It's been quite a while since we've had issue 2. And again, it's this whole thing where I don't remember what happened in issue 2. I feel like I remember issue 1 very vividly, and I think that was more so because issue 1 really focused on the world building, what Gotham was like 20 something years later. Now that villains have been outlawed, Catwoman's fresh out of prison. She's now this kind of like fish out of water scenario. Issue 2, I feel like they were trying to get the actual plot going, but I don't even remember what they're trying to accomplish in this book. That being said, I'm gonna just, you know what? Should I spoil it? I feel like I should spoil it. So Catwoman smashes. I don't want to say it. Please don't.
Oh, don't tell me.
She
Really?
she she smashes the Riddler, And I hate this with all of my heart. Okay, Jen's having the same reaction I had, and I'm very excited about this. So, do you now understand why I say it was horny in a bad way?
Like, to be honest, I feel like truly there's not many times that I would say that's horny in a bad way.
That's horny in a bad way. Why does she smash the Riddler? First of all, in case you didn't know, I hate the Riddler. I can't stand the Riddler. Maybe that's why I didn't like the Batman. Okay, I lied. There was many other reasons I didn't like the Batman, but that's a different story for a different day, and it's already on the channel, so go watch that. But I don't like the Riddler, and I don't like her being with the Riddler. And then it's funny because then it's like, then Etrigan the demon shows up like out of fucking nowhere, and she's flirting with him, and I'm like, I mean, yeah, that I get. Jason Blood totally get. 10 out of 10 would smash. He's got the white streak thing going on. It's very hot, very much love. But why did she smash the Riddler? Cliff Chang. I just want to have casual conversation with just an ounce of violence. Why did she smash the Riddler? She could have smashed Ivy. Why didn't she smash Ivy instead?
I just have to, this is going to get pretty R-rated real quick. So I just want to say, if y'all have kids in the room, if you're not ready to have an inappropriate conversation, please leave, because I'm about to get really inappropriate up in here in a very, very explicit way. So I had a friend in high school who told me that she had a partner who was having relationships with her. And I'm telling y'all, this is getting explicit. So if you need to leave the room, you need to leave the room. But she told me that she was doing things with a partner, and they mid doing things with said partner would pull out and be like, where'd it go? Where'd it go? And I imagine that's the game that the Riddler would bring. Because he'd be like, riddle me this, where did it go? So I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry, because I warned y'all. That would be, to me, like, I would be like, that would be the chaos.
That would be the Riddler. The Riddler would do it. And it's like weird. It's like weird because it's not even like they just smash for the sake of smashing, which, while yes, it would still be gross, I would more accept. Then they start to flirt and they start to have these like weird romantic relations. And I'm sorry, somebody who's read a lot of Catwoman books, she hates that motherfucker. So I'm very confused why she's letting him smash.
Okay, here, hashtag hear me
Have
out.
y'all not read When in Rome? Have y'all not read Gotham City Sirens? She does not like the Riddler, my dude.
What? And I have a question, and I need this answered. If they're like, you know how, like, you know, all y'all Batman people have your like rogues gallery. Do you think that they have their like rogues gallery of people that they've smashed with? Like, do you think that there's a rogues gallery version of Smash?
Maybe.
What would this be called?
I don't know.
Would it still be called the rogues gallery?
I'm scared. The Smash Gallery.
Smash gallery.
Smash Gallery.
Well, thank you all for the 21 people who are still here. After
I didn't immediately eject out.
Yeah.
So on to the Good Horny book. So the Good Horny Catwoman book. And I don't even know if it was. I mean, yeah, it was good. It was good, but I wanted more. Like, it was good enough, but I wanted more from it. So, Catwoman number 42. This was the end of the arc. Of course, we get to see her with the what is his name? I'm so bad with names. I should have taken notes. Why didn't I take notes? I need to start taking notes when I'm reading books. It's terrible because my brain, especially if I read books on a Wednesday, then by Sunday I kind of forget about them. It's awful. So, you know, she kind of smashes. Well, she doesn't smash. I wish she would smash, but she has very heavy sexual interactions with, you know, this one character that's been popping up throughout the arc. Huh?
Onyx?
It's not Onyx. It's the guy that's been all in white. I can't think of his name. I don't know. He's like ghost man thing. I don't fucking know.
Like a character from Seven Secrets.
Yeah, he does actually. He does. But this book got really, thank you, officially unofficial geek, Valmont. That's why I couldn't remember it, because he's got a weird ass fucking name that of course I wouldn't remember.
Yeah,
You
Velma,
know, so
100% sounds
she
character
gets a
from
little horny with Velma, and I'm here for that. Listen, I'm here for this sexual tension, and part of me is like, let them boink, you cowards, but at the same time I'm like, no, I like this sexual tension, let's keep it going for a couple more issues. um so but this issue got a little dark because, you know, it's Catwoman versus Black Mask, and, you know, again, as somebody who's read a lot of Catwoman books, I feel like that is her main villain. Even though it is a Batman villain, I feel like she's constantly at odds with Black Mask. You know, to the point where at one point in Catwoman continuity, he kidnapped her sister and her sister's husband, killed her sister's husband, and forced her sister to eat her dead husband's like eyeballs and tongue and liver and heart, to the point
what
where
run was that?
oh, it was it was one of her older runs, I believe. But it went to the point where it made her sister go absolutely insane and had to be committed. And it was just insane. So I feel like Catwoman finally got her own sort of revenge in this issue where, you know, as Roman Sionis is getting his teeth cleaned. And first of all, can we just pause there? I love the idea that these Gotham villains just do mundane things like going to the bank, getting your teeth cleaned, going grocery shopping. I don't know. I just think that's really funny.
Yeah.
So
That's the book that I need to see. I just need to see them doing well, isn't oh, what was it? Rogues?
Rogues
The
kind of does that.
does that.
Rogues does that. Lonely City kind of does that. But, you know, as Black Mask is getting his teeth cleaned, Catwoman steals his mask and replaces it. And one of the things that, you know, we learn in that run, and I feel like this has kind of been learned, but maybe I forgot about it, even though he's in the scumbag boyfriend army. I'm just a bad scumbag girlfriend. Roman Sionis's mask is made with the wood from his dead father's coffin. So the fact that she has stolen a part of her dead father or his dead father is making him go insane, and it's just really funny. And I don't know, I just kind of liked it. Also, yes, Toby, I do. It is probably the most expensive comic I have ever bought. Surprisingly enough, because I'm cheap with my comics and I tend to get lucky. But yeah, I broke last year and I finally bought the first appearance of the OG Scumbag Boyfriend. But yeah, I like this run. I'm excited to see where the second arc goes, because the second arc is supposed to introduce Harley Quinn, and it's supposed to be a lot of fun. It's just gals being gals. And as much as I don't like
That's the
Harley,
energy that I need to be brought.
I do like her and Selena hanging out. I think those can be really fun moments.
And really quick, I'm just going to go ahead and do a creator rundown. So this book is written by Teenie Howard. This artwork is done by Nico Leone. Veronica Gandini does the colors, and Simon Boland does the letters.
And the artwork in this book is fantastic. I love the artwork in Catwoman, and I hope that it's the same artist in the upcoming issues.
Yeah. One of the books that I got, I don't think that you're reading this one, so I'm just going to pull it up really quickly. Nice House on the Lake. This issue is issue number.
What do you mean I'm not reading Nice House on the Lake?
I didn't think that you were. Okay, did you read this issue?
No, I forgot. But I am reading it, but I forgot this issue.
Can y'all like just go back like 30 seconds and just watch what happened? Because I'm like, I don't think that you're reading this book, and you're
it's
like
on my pool list. It's on my pool list. I just forgot to read this issue. It's fine. It happens. It happens to the best of us.
I'm not gonna lie, I read this issue and I feel like I'm confused. Maybe it's because I'm just reading so many other books and I feel like there's so much going on.
There's so much that goes on with this book. It's one of those books where it's like you hate it, but then you love it, but then you hate it. And listen, I think when it's finally finished, I think once we can just kind of smush everything together,
Yeah,
it will be good.
I think that this book, when kind of it does the like back and forth type thing, but by the end of it I'm like, wait, where am I, what's going on? And I like this, I like it a lot, but at the same time I'm just like, I need James Tinian Tiny Onion to get where they need to get going. The artwork is beautiful. It's done by Alvaro Martinez Bueno, and Jordi Belair does the letter.
I feel like it also doesn't help that it took like a 3 or 4 month hiatus and then came back. And this is only the second issue since it's been back from hiatus. So that being said, I do think I think I like this more than I like Something is Killing the Children.
Oh, wow.
I think, believe it or not, as goldfish brain as I might be, Nice House on the Lake does this like big brain thing that makes me really have to think and decipher stuff and makes me almost feel like I'm a part of the story. It almost makes me feel like I'm trapped in the house on the lake.
Because you're solving the mystery.
Because I'm solving the mystery.
The same time as everyone else.
I don't know. It's fun. I like this little like seek and find type thing where it's like, I remember when the first issue came out, it's like I reread it 3 times and I was taking notes every time I read it, and I was slowly piecing things together. And I don't know. I really like this book. I can't believe you didn't think I was still reading it. I feel very, very insulted right now.
I'm sorry, but I guess the reason why I thought that is because you typically don't like books that do the like Hickman dump, and this is like a special kind of like.
But this is weird.
Dump.
This is like I'm reading like little notes that, I mean, I guess Hickman does the same thing, but they're not as fun. Hickman doesn't do it in a fun way.
It's boring, but I love it. One of the books that I know that you did get, I'm pretty sure that you did get, maybe you didn't, I don't know. Trial of the Amazons, Wonder Girl, issue 2 of 2. Did you get it?
I hated this book. I hate everything. I don't even know. Can I be honest? I read it, right? I did read it. Could I tell you what happened?
No.
Absolutely not. And I'll be honest. I hated the way. So, I mean, we talked about it last time where it's like they're punishing you for not reading the entire Trial of the Amazons event, which, first of all, it's if you want me to read the whole fucking event, you need to be breaking it down as part 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I feel like it's not doing that.
Just make it one series. I don't think
Second
that
of all,
Nubia, Trial of the Amazons, and a Wonder Girl. Like, you should have just made it one thing and paused the other ones.
Exactly. And it already, hurts the book because it feels like there are little nuances of what the Yara Flor Wonder Girl, I love that variant, by the way, what the Yara Flor Wonder Girl story was supposed to be before it got ineptly canceled, I'm assuming for Trial of the Amazons, and they're just squeezing the remains of it in. Yeah. But for this particular issue in general, because I mean, with Trial of the Amazons 1, yeah, I was frustrated. Yeah, I was confused, but I was kind of able to figure out what was going on. Issue 2, the artwork was so bad. And I don't necessarily mean the art itself was bad, but every single page, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I did read this issue. I read this issue digitally because my copy isn't coming in for a couple weeks due to ordering issues. I read this issue digitally, and every page is a splash page. But it is so confusing how it wants me to read it, because at one point it feels like they want me to read it from left to right. Next page, it's like they want me to read it up and down. And I was just really confused about the presentation of this entire book. And it frustrated me to the point where I was just like, all right, let's get to the end of the book already because I'm done.
Yeah.
And I feel, John's coming through with the hashtag Mars chose violence. I'm just feeling very disrespected personally. I feel like I am personally being victimized by Joelle Jones because she presented me with Yara Flor, who was a character that I did not expect to love, but ended up falling head over heels for and became obsessed with. And then it felt like it was all just ripped away from me.
Yeah.
And it feels like it feels like when we look at fucking characters that have gotten the bigger disrespect or the most disrespect, it's Yara Flor. She has been disrespected since her first issue, I feel like.
I agree. And I wish that it was more consistent. And I know it's not necessarily Joelle Jones doing it, that it could have a lot to do with DC editorial. I feel like at this point, Joelle Jones had a big plan for Wonder Girl and had it like where we could get more consistent backstory and what's going on, and then it was the rug was ripped under, and then it's like, hey, we're gonna basically disrespect this character, and we're gonna have you smush everything that you were gonna do.
I hate it. I hate
Yeah.
all of it. Just let Yara Flor have a series again. Don't touch it. Let us have fun. Let her
Nubia,
be funky, and that's all. That's all I want.
yeah, Nubia and is going to have a new upcoming series, a 4-issue limited series, but I need a lot more than that. I need a lot more than that.
I need more. I need more from all of it. I would be happy if we just got an Amazon's,
Yeah,
title where it's a team up book. It's a fun little team up book with, Cassie Sandsmark and Donna Troy, Yara Flor, Nubia, Diana Prince. I mean, I just think it would be really fun.
yeah, I agree. Okay, so one other book. I don't think that you got this one. Okay,
She's gonna.
World's Finest.
I did not have a chance to read that. That was on my list of things I wanted to read, but I didn't get a chance to. How was issue 2?
I liked it. Doom Patrol comes up, and I really love the artwork of this. I
Because it's
really love.
Dan Mora, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. And it's written by Mark
Mark
Waid,
Wade.
and the colors by Tamara Bonvillain are just absolutely incredible. Uh, this is really fun. This is probably one of the funnest Batman books, I think, and I think part of it is
It
because
really captures that like fun Silver Age feel of
yeah,
why we love comics and why we fell in love with a lot of these characters.
I'm getting very nostalgic. It's characters that I know, so I don't need a lot of like introduction to the characters.
And it doesn't take itself too seriously from what I remember from issue 1.
Yeah. So Serge has a question. I've not read None 2 series yet, so I got them
Oh
all.
no, there was a part 1 before it.
Oh, sorry. Should you read Nubia first or be reading Wonder Girl? Please read Wonder Girl first, I would
Yeah,
say.
I would read Wonder Girl. I mean, honestly, you could read either or, I feel like. But canonically, in terms of release, Wonder Girl did come out first, and then Nubia came out after that.
So I have one last book. I don't know what
That's
you have.
ironically the same book that I have. All of a sudden, Jen's gonna be like, "Oh, I know you're not reading
I
Nightwing,
know
but
you're
your favorite
not.
writer,
No.
Tom
I
Taylor."
know you hate Tom Taylor. Just kidding. How are you liking this? Because this is very flash heavy.
It's okay. I mean, it's hard because it's like he's writing a character that I've never really cared about, but then he makes me kind of care about him, and I'm like, what is actually going on? I don't know. Nightwing has just been solid all across the board. I wasn't a big fan of the artist on this book. I think Bruno Redondo is taking a little bit of a back seat, I think, and has been for the past couple of issues, which is fine. Everybody deserves a break. But listen, I miss Mr. Redondo, and I like the way that he draws Dick Grayson, and it makes me very happy. But Nightwing continues to just be the best DC book that they're putting out right now. And Tom Taylor, at this point, let's be honest, I think Tom Taylor should just be allowed to write whoever he wants.
Hear me out. I think that if Tom Taylor decides not to write anymore, I would love to see Tom Taylor just be like an editor at DC.
I'd be fine
Like,
with that.
let him do with DC what Marvel let Hickman do. Like, let Tom Taylor be like head of Gotham the way that Hickman was head of X.
I'd be fine with that. Let him just be head of DC. Let's just pop him right in there. Let's kick Jim Lee out and let's pop Tom Taylor in and we'll have a good time. It'll be fine. It's all right.
So if you once again here, I'm going to go over the creative team. So if you didn't hear us earlier, it's Tom Taylor on artwork and
Writing.
on writing, and then it is oh man, it is Geraldo Borges is the artist, and Adriano Lucas is the colors. Wes Abbott is the letters. I didn't necessarily hate this for being flash heavy, but I also want to know more about this character, La Agente Funeri.
Mm-hmm.
Is this like a character that has a backstory?
I don't know. I'm I think that they might have just been a throwaway character. I really
I
do. I
think
think they were a
that,
throwaway character.
yeah. I thought they had a really unique design, and I'm like, okay, I like it. But they are not in this very long. So
No.
so I still like Nightwing is very solid, even though this is one of the least
Yeah, I
favorite.
feel like this has definitely been a weaker arc for me. And I think, I mean, I can't speak on behalf of you, but I feel like you may be very similar. Where because we're not Flash fans and we're not invested in that character, it is going to feel weaker to us. But I've seen people that are Flash fans that have said that this is one of the best arcs that they've seen so far. So, it's nice to know that Tom Taylor writes a little something for everyone.
And this is I know like most people who are Flash fans, the only thing I really know about the Flash is
Go
that
fast. He go burr.
well, he go burr, but the second thing that I know is that people who really love the Flash are very much about the Flash that they like, whether it's Wally Wood or
Wally Wood.
not Wally Wood, Wally
Wally
West,
West.
or Wally Wood is an artist and
See,
was
why am
married
I
to
thinking of like
Tatiana Wood.
why am I thinking of going to like Wally Wood, like Wally World? I'm
Wally
gonna go
World.
to Wally World, Wally World.
Well, the thing that I do know about Flash fans is that a lot of them are like, okay, I have the Flash that I like, and that's it.
They're like Green Lantern fans.
Yeah, that's true.
They're very similar.
So it is the Wally West.
This is Wally, yes.
This
This
is
is
the Wally.
Wally. This is the Wally.
Yeah.
Good old Wally.
And thank you, John, for telling the other one is Barry Allen. So like people are very much like I really like one or like the other, and I can never like the other one. So still really like it. I love Nightwing. Like I never thought that I'd
So
be
good.
loving a bat adjacent book as much as I do, but
So perfect.
that's the only other. I only have one other book, and that's it.
What other book do you have?
And I forgot who mentioned it earlier, but they mentioned that Ryan North is in fact back on a Squirrel Girl book, and here it is. So Ryan North is back on a Squirrel Girl book. It's a digital only comic book, and there's a companion call-in radio show.
Ooh.
It's a Marvel Unlimited title, and it's absolutely adorable. Yeah, if you have Marvel Unlimited, I would highly recommend the Squirrel Girl book. Yeah.
What a fun little time.
Well, that was all of the single issues, but you have a nice little library haul. What did you get at the library, and what have you read so far?
I have a massive library stack. I'm just gonna pop it up on screen for y'all. Oh my god, this thing is like 40 pounds, but that's because there's a 40-pound book right on top, so we'll get to that.
What is that?
So listen, I love the library, yo. Okay, library saves me money. I can order books from anywhere in the state. They also offer digital services. This is my plug for you guys to start checking out books from your local library, because the more that you check out books from your local library, the more graphic novels they will order, because they'll see if they're popular. And a library is literally right across the street from my new apartment, so it's been really great. So the first big chunky boy up here is the Death Note Ultimate Companion. So again, we don't talk about manga a lot on this show, but 2020, right at the start of the pandemic, I started watching Death Note and became obsessed with it, like obsessed. So they had this little chunky boy at the library, which is the entire series. And when I say that this is literally 40 fucking pounds, it's insane. Like, this is definitely, listen, I'm the type of person where I have a little Eda book bag where I take like 2 or 3 graphic novels with me everywhere. This is not one of those books, because it would weigh down my entire bag.
Thick with like 5 C's.
It's fucking insane. It's so bad. This one I picked up. So this was actually hidden in with the prose books, and I'm going to move it where it belongs, because it is truly a graphic novel. This is called The Times I Knew I Was Gay. This is just a really cute little like autobiographical sort of maybe not quite graphic novel, but it kind of reminds me of like just a nice little storytelling thing, kind of like Noelle Stevenson did some autobiographical work, so it kind of reminds me of that. I'm about halfway through this one so far. Trial of Magneto, I don't have it here, because it's now sitting on my partner's nightstand for them to read. But Trial of Magneto, recently read that. Yo, man, that book hits so much harder now that you know how that book ends. And it's definitely probably one of my favorite Marvel books now. So
I'm gonna have to go back and reread. I'll probably read it digitally on the Marvel Unlimited app, but yeah.
there's so much that you pick up knowing how that book ends, and I'm not going to spoil it for anybody who hasn't read it, but if you told me that a event comic from Marvel Comics during the Hickman era of X-Men would be one of my favorite comics, I would have called you crazy, but I think it's definitely my favorite. Also, it is a Scarlet Witch book. It is not a Magneto book. So if you want more Scarlet Witch because she's having a little movie come out soon, read that book.
If you need like a I don't know, to pick up off of House of M, I feel like it's a great like after read of House of M. Like
True.
if you read
Also
that
true.
after watching WandaVision, you're like, oh, I want to read House of M, and then you read that and you're like, where else do I go? Read Trial of Magneto.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I second that. So this one, I read this one recently. This is called Sandcastle. It's by Frederick Peters and Pierre Oscar Levy. This is actually what the recent M. Night Shyamalan movie Old was based off of. I hadn't seen Old, but I was fascinated by the concept, and I was watching a YouTuber and they talked about how it was originally a graphic novel. And I was like, let me read it. And it was okay. I think I wanted more from it. It started to get really good towards the end. If you are unaware, Old or Sandcastle, whichever one you want to call it, is basically these people get onto a beach and they can't leave, and they all start aging exponentially. So, you have some of the parents that are, growing into old men and women. You have two and three, actually there's like four small children that are growing up and they go through puberty and it's time to explore our bodies. Oh no, I'm pregnant. And it all happens within the matter of like 12 hours. Yeah, it's absolutely horrifying, but it's really interesting and gives you a lot to think about. This is a book from DC Comics. This is one of the original graphic novels. This is called Whistle. They are a new Gotham hero. I am really, really excited for this book because the artwork is really gorgeous, and I feel like there hasn't been a single original graphic novel from DC that we haven't liked. So, really excited for that. Batgirl, Stephanie Brown, Volume 2. Really, really excited for this because these books I think are already out of print as well. And in 2020, I also fell in love with Stephanie Brown, Batgirl. So super excited for that. This is a book that I'm actually surprised I have not read yet.
Yeah, I'm really surprised you haven't read that one.
So I recently read from the library. It's already back at the library, so I can't show it off. I read Displacement from First Second Comics, which actually tells a very similar concept. It's about a girl who ends up traveling back in time, and she finds herself in a Japanese internment camp where her grandmother was, and it kind of goes through that history and her experience with that. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to keep this theme going. I think I'm going to finally read They Called Us Enemy, which is another biographical story of a similar nature from little Star Trek boy George Takei. That's all I know about George Takei.
Oh my gosh.
This is The Lightning Thief, Percy Jackson and the Olympians. So my partner has recently gotten really, really into the Percy Jackson series and has been reading them all and wants me to read them all. But listen, I got goldfish brain.
Yeah.
I don't read anything that doesn't have pictures anymore. And apparently there's a graphic novel adaptation. So, they're reading Heartstopper for me. I'm going to read The Lightning Thief for them. It's all about compromise. So, and I was looking at this and it's actually adapted by Robert Venditti, who did the Hawkman run from Rebirth that I really, really like. So pretty excited about that. You already know. Do I have to talk about this book anymore? I'm rereading Barbarian.
I am really surprised
my way through it.
I'm really surprised you don't own that.
Listen, I just moved and I'm broke as hell, so I don't own much of anything anymore right now. So I think I'm even more shocked that my library has it, because it feels like a lot of times, at least for our Delaware libraries, They tend to go more towards the mainstream big two image. So I was really shocked that they had it. So I'm excited. And then we kind of just talked about this guy, but I'm picked up Nightwing. So I'm really excited. This was my favorite book of 2021 last year. So I'm excited to read it in trade, because there's something about reading a book in trade versus in single issues that hits a little bit different.
Hits. Yeah.
It hits.
Especially when you kind of know what's going to happen. Like even if you just read like the first and second issue of a volume, for sure.
Mm-hmm. So that's my massive library haul. Listen, my goal every year is to hit 100 graphic novels in a year. So I'm hoping to kind of make a dent in that, get me close. I'm not like Jen, who reads 1,000 graphic novels in a year.
Listen, I am not even close to 1,000. I'm not going to say I've given up, but I've got some vacation time coming up in the next couple weeks, and I might get a little bit closer to 1,000, but I'm, only in a couple hundred right now, so we'll see.
But local libraries are great. A lot of local libraries right now have a digital catalog where you can check out books. I personally don't read a whole lot of digital stuff, but it's always available for you. So definitely take advantage of your local libraries, especially when you're listening to us and you hear us talk about a book and you're like, oh, I want to read it, but I also don't want to, maybe I don't want to spend the money on that book, because maybe you don't trust us that much. I get it. It's fine. I don't trust us that much either. But the local library is a great resource and it's always there for you.
So true. Well, alrighty. Anything else you have that you've got going on? Anything else you want to talk about, or?
Did you hear that we have a little merch store open now where you can buy Casually Comics merch that I have dedicated weeks of my life to?
Yeah. Seriously, this it would not have happened if it wasn't for you doing incredible work. Like seriously, because you'll just be like, okay, here #hear me out. What should I do for it? And then you just like come up with something brilliant, and I'm like, I love it. Like
I was bored today. Look at what I made.
Yeah, for real. So please check out our merch shop. Check it out, see if you like it. Give us feedback. Like if there's stuff you want to see, or like I want
Is
this.
there something you hate?
Yeah, let us know. So
and
thank
then
you. Oh.
I know I mentioned it at the beginning of the show, but I'm going to plug it again at the end. Members of our channel, they do get an exclusive code that you can use for 10% off of all our merch. We are planning to add it to our little YouTube memberships area, hopefully very soon. But if you are impatient and you want merch now, DM me, because I will give you that code so that way you can use it. Listen, I know who's a member. I got you.
Well, thank you everyone who came by and stopped and told us about, like in the comments, like the comics that they're reading. Listen to us talk about comic books. This is why we do it every single week. And I'm also here to tell you that I'm pretty sure the next couple of weeks, at least the next 3 weeks, we'll probably be back to a morning schedule. So make sure to, I know all of y'all are subscribed, but make sure that you go and click the reminder button. So you get the notification bell. Make sure you click that so then you know when we go live. Okay.
For sure.
But I hope everyone has a good Sunday night. I love you all, and I hope that you're reading good stuff. So I'm gonna say goodbye.
Bye.